Alright, here is the recommended order of bosses for Mega Man 2, probably the best Mega Man, certainly on the NES, maybe in general, but we start things off at number 1 with Metal Man. It's pretty easy to take down on his own with the Mega Buster, but more importantly, he gives you probably the most versatile and useful weapon in the game with his Metal Blade. And incidentally, we can use it to kill Metal Man himself with one hit later during the boss rush section of the game, so keep that in mind. But number 2, we move on to my favorite robot because of its soundtrack, Bubble Man. Again, not too difficult with the Mega Buster if that's all you've got, but the Metal Blade, very effective for taking down Bubble Man. You should not have any problems with that weapon. Number 3, we move on to Flash Man. Again, not that difficult if you're just using the Mega Buster. The Crash Bomb, I believe, is the most powerful weapon to use against him, but being that Crash Man is a lot more difficult, and we don't need to have his weapon necessarily at this point in time, we save him for later. Just use the Metal Blade once again for Flash Man. Shouldn't have any problems, and that'll be 3 down. Then we move on to Woodman, about midway through the game at this point. And Woodman is probably the last time I will recommend the Metal Blade, but it works very well on him. I think there are more effective weapons, but again, with the order that I recommend, the Metal Blade works just fine. Watch out for his Leaf Shield, and you shouldn't have too many problems with that. Number 5, we move on to Airman, and we're going to be using that Woodman Leaf Shield that we just got. For whatever reason, don't ask me the science behind it, but Airman very weak against leaves, so I think 3 or 4 of those shots will take him down, and without too much trouble. Number 6, we move on to Crash Man, who jumps around a lot, one of the more difficult bosses, but again, we have Airman's move. I think it takes him down in maybe 3 shots, and that move goes up in the air, which works very well on Crash Man, who's always jumping around. So, shouldn't have any problems taking down Crash Man with Airman's weapon. Then we move on to the penultimate robot, Heat Man. Good luck with his stage. It's one of the more difficult ones, but the Bubble Lead, which we got from Bubble Man, works very effectively in one of the pairings that does make sense in this game, water, extinguishing fire. So go ahead, I think it's maybe 2 shots against Heat Man, so shouldn't have too much trouble with that. And then finally, we end on Quick Man. Again, one of the more difficult levels. You can use Flash Man's time-stopping ability to get through the laser point, but keep in mind that that same weapon is very effective against Quick Man, so you might want to top it off by fighting some enemies right before you get to the boss. But using that time stopper when you're at full capacity with that weapon will take down Quick Man to about half his health and freeze him in the process. At that point, I recommend switching over to Airman's little Cyclone attack. Just like Crash Man, Quick Man jumps around a lot, so this is a very effective weapon against him. And that's pretty much it. Keep these in mind when you get to the boss rush section of the game as well. And yeah, enjoy the game. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't.